Hello, welcome to Housing Counseling Competency, Unit 3, Responsibilities of Home Ownership and Tenancy. The first thing we're going to consider are the benefits of home ownership. Many times your clients may think that the only answer is home ownership, so we're going to talk about both the pros and cons in this unit. Some benefits include the fact that if they get a fixed rate mortgage, they would have a fixed monthly payments other than the insurance and taxes changing throughout over the years. Also, if they make their mortgage payments on time, their monthly payments can help to improve their credit score. And furthermore, homeownership can be an investment. You're building equity as you pay down the loan. And also it provides the opportunity to have some tax deductions, and we'll talk more about that in detail later on in this unit. There are some responsibilities that come along with homeownership, and one of them is to maintain a safe environment for your household. Some things the new homeowners should consider to have a secure home is that they'll need to change all the locks in the home and the alarm codes because they don't know who previously had keys and alarm codes and could gain entry to their home. Also, to repair broken windows and doors, and getting to know the neighbors is a good idea. In my case, it's helped to prevent a break-in in one situation when a neighbor simply walked across the street and asked some suspicious people what they were doing when our neighbor knew that we weren't at home. So I recommend that. Also, have the local emergency information posted and keep bushes trimmed away from the doors and windows so that it's easy to see if someone is trying to gain entry into your home. They can't be hidden behind landscaping. Another good idea is to have an emergency supply kit in the home. Some things to put in that kit are a battery-operated radio and flashlights, candles, a first aid kit, water, and non-perishable canned food. Some things to have in case of a fire, first of all, would be to establish a fire evacuation plan so everyone knows how to exit the home safely. And one of those, if your home has more than one story, you may need to have emergency ladders so that people can exit upstairs rooms safely. And have smoke detectors and fire extinguishers and make sure that they're working, test them regularly. Also, it's recommended to store any valuable paperwork in a fireproof box so that that's not lost in the event of a fire. And to install a carbon monoxide detector and to consider a radon test if there's a basement in the home. Oftentimes, new homeowners think that it will be cheaper to own a home than to rent because it's possible that they will have a monthly payment that'll be lower than their rent payment. However, they have to be aware of the other increased financial responsibilities of homeownership. While a mortgage payment may be less than a rent payment, this chart shows how much more homeowners paid than renters did on average on all housing subcategories in 2010. So new homeowners may not be aware that utilities may cost more in addition to purchasing furniture and blinds or window treatments if they want to make changes to things like that, and home improvements, and also simply maintaining the home. Homeowners insurance is a policy that's paid by the homeowner to protect or cover the value of the home in case of a loss. Each policy for homeowners insurance covers property, personal items or contents, and liability coverage. The structural coverage covers the property in case of damage or loss of the property. And we recommend that a homeowner have enough coverage to cover the cost to rebuild the home in its condition, in its present condition. And we'll talk a little bit more about that in a moment. Also, homeowners insurance includes personal property coverage or contents coverage, and that includes furniture and other belongings, electronics. If a person has additional things like valuable collections or collectibles, they should talk to their insurance agent about having additional coverages. To give you a picture of the difference between structural coverage and personal property coverage, think about a box and put some things in that box, and then we'll imagine that box as the house or the structure, and the things that you put in that box are the personal property items. When you pick up that box and shake it, everything that falls out would be the contents or the personal property, like furniture and electronics, other possessions, but the box remains as the structure that's covered. There are two types of loss reimbursements to be aware of in the loss settlement clause of the policy. One option is actual cash value. The other is called replacement cost coverage. Now, let's use an example. If the home was purchased 10 years ago for $180,000 and it burned down today, if the homeowner had actual cash value coverage, then the insurance company would give the homeowner $180,000, since that was the original amount that they purchased the home for 10 years ago. If a homeowner had obtained replacement cost coverage, then this policy would reimburse the homeowner for the amount to replace the home at today's cost. It may cost $250,000 today to rebuild the identical home that cost $180,000 to purchase 10 years ago. Therefore, it's recommended that homeowners obtain replacement cost coverage rather than actual cash value, so that they can be sure that if there is a complete loss, they can rebuild their home to the same condition that it was prior to the loss. Private mortgage insurance is paid by the homeowner. However, it covers the lender in case of default. A homeowner can cancel the PMI or private mortgage insurance by request once they've reached 20% equity of the original value in the home. In other words, when they owe less than 80% of the original value at the time of purchase, they can request that PMI be canceled. Sometimes the lender will cancel it automatically, but that will take longer. They'll have to get to a higher equity percentage before that automatic cancellation occurs, and it is the homeowner's responsibility to make sure that it's canceled. There are some tax benefits to homeownership. Tax deductions are one benefit, and one of those deductions can be for mortgage interest that's paid throughout the year. It can then be deducted. The amount can be found on Form 1098 if the homeowner has an escrow account. If they don't use an escrow account, then they would have to calculate the interest paid based on their payment history. Another tax deduction is for closing costs. A portion of those closing costs may be deducted, and those amounts can be found on the HUD-1 settlement statement. So it's important for the homeowner to take that HUD-1 settlement statement when they meet with their tax professional. Also, some real estate taxes can be deducted, and those are also listed on the HUD-1 settlement statement. Some homeowners will be paying homeowners association fees or dues. So let's talk about what an HOA payment covers. An HOA payment may include the homeowner's insurance, because often the HOA or homeowners association obtains insurance on the whole building and just charges you for your share. And then the homeowner or condo owner may need to have additional insurance that they pay separately for the contents or personal property. The common area maintenance for any green spaces or community buildings, shared buildings, or improvements or repairs would also be included in this homeowners association fees. And sometimes the gas and water are shared and divided among the homeowners and included in this payment. Ownership title identifies the individual who maintains interest in the property. It can be changed through a title company or attorney, and it must be recorded with the local municipality. Making the wrong choice of ownership title can decrease an owner's value of personal interest. As counselors, you should research the ways to hold title in your state. This chart shows some common ways to establish title on a property. Those include individual ownership, joint tenancy, community property, and tenancy in common. When a homeowner considers refinancing, they should consider a few things before they make that decision. Some questions include, does the current mortgage loan have a prepayment penalty that I'll have to pay if I refinance? Will the new loan's interest rate be significantly lower than the current mortgage interest rate? Many clients are not aware that the balance may increase due to closing costs, so they should find out how much the closing costs will be. When someone is trying to encourage them to refinance, the lender may not be telling them specifically about closing costs, and there may be hidden fees included that will increase their mortgage balance. They should watch out for scam refinancing companies, and it's not recommended to refinance other debt into the mortgage, especially unsecured debt, because they're increasing the liability or the possibility of losing that home if they're not able to make the payments. Whereas if they stop making payments on credit cards or other unsecured debt, they're not at risk of losing their home. Home equity lines of credit are lines of credit taken out against the property. The homeowner has a credit limit with payment conditions. They're usually with variable interest rates, and the payments vary monthly depending on the balance on that line of credit and current interest rates. It's an opportunity for a homeowner to use the equity they have in their home to make other payments or purchases. However, they can also choose not to use that line of credit at any time. A right of rescission is required by the Truth in Lending Act for certain transactions, primarily to help homeowners protect their equity investment. To rescind a transaction, the consumer must notify the creditor in writing by midnight on the third business day after the transaction is finalized, and when those proper disclosures are received, or after those proper disclosures are received. So keep in mind that it is for 3 days. Now, most people think that the right of rescission covers all real estate transactions. However, it does not. It does not cover home purchases. It does cover home equity loans and lines of credit, and most mortgage refinances, unless they are not a cash-out refinance and it's with the same lender. But there is a right of rescission for all cash-out refinances. It does not cover loans made to purchase a house, because if you consider the fact that when a purchase is made, there are many other buyers and sellers depending on the closing. So it would really be a problem if a person waited 3 days and then decided not to go forward with their purchase. There is not a right of rescission for loans involving properties that are not the primary residence. So, for example, if a person is working to refinance or purchase a vacation home or a second home. There's also not a right of rescission for business loans or new loans for the same lender without any cash out. Now, many people are concerned about predatory mortgage loans, and it is difficult sometimes to identify if a loan is a predatory loan because the characteristics vary from case to case. So as counselors, it's important to know the warning signs that may indicate a predatory situation. Here's a list of some of those. If a lender has targeted a specific neighborhood or perhaps targeted mentally incapacitated homeowners, such as the elderly who may not be able to have full control of their capacities and make an informed decision about refinancing. Also, steering people to high-rate lenders, door-to-door solicitation of home improvement or financing arranged by a contractor or a mobile home dealer. Incomplete or inadequate home improvement work is a sign. Also, large fees or kickbacks paid to the mortgage broker, or paying off low-rate mortgages. I've seen this with people who were, or lenders who were targeting individuals that had Habitat for Humanity loans with 0% interest were being targeted to refinance for cash out and then obtaining a high interest loan. Also, the individual may have been encouraged to shift unsecured debt into a mortgage, such as credit cards. Some other signs that you may see in a predatory situation would be falsifying loan applications or forged signatures or adding insincere cosigners. I've seen falsified information about people's income before on loan applications, or adding a cosigner who didn't know about it. Another list of signs as far as the loan itself, if the loan is a high interest rate loan or a high APR, the high fees and closing costs, or a balloon payment or negative amortization. This concludes section 3.1.